Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another Dune Raider Devlog. After 2 years of development, I have finally made a final boss for the game, and the game is now winnable. However, before I get into that, I would like to discuss the release date of the game. In my previous video, I said that I would release it at the next devlog. My plan was to spend a week working on the final boss, which I have finished ahead of schedule, and then spend another week polishing the game. However, I have made a slight oversight, as that schedule would put the release date on Black Friday, which is not a good time to release a game. So I will be postponing it by a few weeks to launch on December 12th. If you want to wishlist the game now, you can find the link to the store page in the description of this video. Also in the description is a link to the Discord where you can follow my updates on the game as I continue to work on it over the next few weeks. For those of you who are new to the channel and want to know what this game is about, I will be posting more videos in the upcoming weeks summarizing the entire development process and showcasing all the features in the game. But with that said, it's time to get to talking about the final boss of my first indie game. The final boss is a fortress that you must single-handedly lay siege to. To beat the boss, you have to destroy the central structure, which is surrounded by 2 walls. To get through each wall, you have to destroy one of the towers in the wall, creating an opening to pass inside. Each wall and the inside of the fortress all offer their own challenge that the player must overcome, and it is recommended that you fight the other bosses in the game before coming here, because the items you get will make this boss much easier. And also, those other bosses are also cool, and you should fight them anyways. But with that being said, let's get to stage 1 of the boss, the outer wall. The outer wall is the easiest wall to get through, as the only hazard are the artillery guns on top of the tower. These guns are fairly easy to avoid, but if you don't destroy them before heading into the middle region between the 2 walls, they will still continue to attack you. This means that you could take your time destroying the other 5 towers if you are confident, or if you're willing to risk it, rush inside and try to beat the boss quickly. Once you get through the outer wall, you get to the middle region. This middle region is not only full of various buildings that obstruct your path, but you will also be constantly attacked by spikes that will sprout up from the ground. These are fairly easy to dodge on their own. In fact, they're easier to deal with than the artillery cannons, but are very deadly in combination with the inner wall turrets. Instead of more artillery cannons, the inner wall has glassing beams, which I made a long time ago for the battleship in the Windy Expanse. This turret fires beams of lightning that form walls of glass across the dunes. The beam itself does not hurt you, but it will stop you in your tracks if you run into it, which will cause you to then be hit by the spike attack, which forces you to continue moving as long as you are in this region. You can, of course, break through these glass walls, but it is very tedious to do so with the spear, so it is best to go through this part of the boss quickly, or to get an alternative weapon from a shop or the driller boss before coming here. Once you have gotten through the tumultuous second stage of the fortress, you then get to the interior third stage. This stage is considerably easier than the second stage, as the only remaining obstacle in your way are 3 thumpers. These 3 thumpers create shockwaves similar to the Strider boss. In order to destroy the central tower, and thus win the game, you have to time your movements and strikes to avoid these shockwaves. You must also deal with any residual glass that may have sprouted in this inner region as a result of your time in Stage 2. Any remaining glassing beams will be able to see you in this inner region, so similar to the artillery turrets, it is best to take them out before heading in here, which only introduces even more risk factor into the fight. It is up to the player whether they want to destroy the glassing beams in the middle region or go inside and destroy them from the inside. Regardless, once you destroy the tower in the center, you win the game. Congratulations. Currently, I don't have anything flashy or fabulous, and I am trying to figure out ways to make it cooler to win the game. But that's the final boss for you. I'm really proud of how well it turned out, actually. I figured it would take me the whole week to get a boss that's fun to fight, but it turned out pretty well for how simple it was. Similar to the Strider, which is also a fairly simple boss and turned out pretty well. Now, there are other things I have worked on since the last devlog. For starters, I now have a fully functional save system. Whenever you create a new game, you can choose to have it be permadeath or save any time. If you choose save any time, you can manually save in the pause menu. There is no autosave whatsoever, so if you die, you can choose to load back where you last saved. Likewise, if you win, you can load your last save and fight the amazing final boss yet again. This game mode is recommended for people who want to mess around or get to learn the game before committing to permadeath. In permadeath, the game autosaves only, and it will do so whenever you die, so don't think about trying to Alt F4 your way out of being dead. It also autosaves whenever you win, forcing you to restart the game from the beginning. There are also configuration options for the world that you can configure before starting your game. Currently, the size of the map is the only option on here, but I plan to add more in the future. And these settings can be reused between attempts, as dying in permadeath mode does not delete your save, but rather keeps the settings so that you can start a new save with the same settings. That way, you don't have to fiddle around with all of the sliders every time you want to play. I have also made a visual improvement to the Strider boss that I also carried over to the towers on the final fortress. Anytime you hit the Strider, there will now be a visible bleeding effect on the leg that you hit. That way, you can keep track of which legs you have been hitting and how many times you have hit them. I have also changed the Driller boss to use a hit point system instead of the weak point system, as it has been very annoying trying to hit all 3 of the weak points on the Driller. So now you instead only have to hit 1 weak point 3 times, similar to the Strider boss and the final boss's towers. But that's all for this devlog. I have many quality of life improvements, bug fixes, and remodels that I will be posting in a future devlog before I release the game onto Steam on December 12th. And of course, I will also be making videos showcasing all of the game's content for those of you who are new to the channel. So be sure to subscribe and keep a lookout for when those come out over the next few weeks. And I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Later.